All right, let me start out with some good news. A lot of people are overly concerned about whether or not they're prepared enough for disasters or the market crash that's coming, or, an EMP attack, these kinds of things. A lot of people, I've heard from them, they're kind of freaked out. I don't know if I'm ready enough. I don't know if I'm prepared enough. Let me just assure you with some good news. If you have 10 brain cells functioning, you are more prepared than 99% of the masses. All right, so let's just square that away. You're already in the top 1% just from understanding what the word preparedness means. All right, people are so incredibly ignorant and stupid about preparedness in America that you don't have to be that prepared to be in the top 1%. And just to give you an example of that, here's a story about a 21-year-old. I'm not going to give her name because I'm not trying to embarrass her since she died. She recently was going to a party in Milwaukee, or a concert and then a party, and it was minus 6 degrees Fahrenheit outside. That's a minus 6, and she wore a tank top and a pair of shorts. Now, probably some flip-flops went along with that as well, and I've seen these people, tank top, shorts, and flip-flops, and they're the kind of people that just don't survive very long, and this girl sadly died. Alcohol may have been involved, but also poor judgment was probably a pretty big factor. Again, I'm not trying to make fun of her, but let's be honest about this. Not everybody has the brains to survive. And, if you're going to walk around in minus 6 degree weather in a tank top and shorts, you just don't have what it takes to continue, the human gene pool. I mean, seriously, Darwin Award time, right? So there are people like this everywhere. I've seen people board airplanes with flip-flops and shorts and tank tops. Airplanes that are flying over the Rocky Mountains or flying over, very, very cold mountainous regions in the middle of the winter. People are delusional, and they're just living in constant denial. See, when I board an airplane, I'm thinking, hey, what are we going to be flying over here? If this plane goes down, number one, you're probably 90% you're going to die anyway if it goes down. But if you're lucky and you don't die from the crash itself, how are you going to survive on the ground? You're going to just walk around in your flip-flops and your tank top in the middle of the Colorado mountains while the rescue team takes 48 hours to get there? No. I won't board an airplane without putting on my ranch boots. I won't board an airplane without carrying a flashlight. And that's the kind of thing that sets people like you and I apart from the ignorant, dumbed-down masses who are basically volunteering to die at every opportunity. And so when you realize what's coming our way with the food supply shortages, the economic collapse that's happening, it's already begun. It's just going to accelerate. When you look at the possibility of war with China, or the possibility of us being nuked with a hydrogen bomb from North Korea now they claim to have, or war with Russia, or who knows, any number of things. Yellowstone blowing its top, although that's very, very unlikely to happen in your lifetime. Nevertheless, there are a lot of different risks out there. Most people aren't prepared really for any of them. Some people don't even own a flashlight. They live in cities where there's artificial light already made available for them everywhere. Isn't that fun? Artificial light everywhere, so they don't even need a flashlight. People who live in the city, they always, when they see me in person, if I'm public speaking or something, they always look at my pocket. It's like, what are you carrying there? What's that clip? It's like a flashlight. They say, why do you need a flashlight? There's lights everywhere. I'm like, yeah, here there are lights everywhere. You live in an artificial construct. Yeah, there's tap water everywhere too, because there are pumps pumping the water through the plumbing, And you have tap water everywhere. You have light everywhere. You have electricity everywhere until it all stops. You know, where I live, I carry a flashlight. You know, I might have to light up a rattlesnake cruising around in the dark trying to eat one of my baby chicks, you know. Where I live, the electricity might not necessarily be on all the time. So you have backup plans. You have a generator. You know, you have battery systems. You do what you can. Where I live, I have, multiple backup water sources. In an emergency, got a number of gravity filters. They don't need electricity. I can filter water and I can survive. But these people, like this woman that went to this party in Wisconsin or Milwaukee, Milwaukee, they don't think about these things. They just think, oh, there's a concert, there's a party, it's going to be fun. Maybe there's a buffet. Maybe there's an open bar. I think I'll wear a tank top because it's, I'm going to be inside. Just wear a tank top. What do you say? What do you say to these people? So this is a reminder to really practice good preparedness. And it's also, again, an affirmation that if you have done anything in terms of preparedness, you are ahead of the curve. You're like in the A section of the classroom already. You get an A just for even listening to this. All right? And most Americans are getting like D's and F's because they suffer from what's called normalcy bias, which means they think that things are going to continue around them the way that they have in recent memory for the simple reason that there's kind of a psychological momentum. People think things won't change. Normalcy bias, that's what it's called. People are psychologically incapable, most people, of foreseeing where things are headed because they can't imagine drastic changes from the life that they've known. Which is interesting because if you look at human history and the rise and fall and demise of hundreds of different civilizations in recorded history, different empires, different civilizations, including the Anasazi Native American Indian civilization in Arizona, which crashed and burned, Easter Island, right? Different empires have crashed and burned. If you look at that, you realize that the real constant throughout human history is radical change. Regimes get overthrown. Populations rise up and revolt from time to time. Social chaos takes over from time to time. Market crashes happen from time to time. There are wars from time to time. And virtually no one was really accurately predicting these revolutionary changes that would come along, even in science, with Einstein's description of the field of special relativity. Just looking at the overthrow of Newtonian physics with relativity and then eventually quantum physics, things change, and they change radically. Just look around you. Go wherever you live. Do you have mountains around you? Have you ever seen mountains? Well, right there, that's evidence that when things happen, they happen drastically and violently and suddenly. Believe me, mountains were not grown slowly over time from the ground up. You don't plant little mountain seeds and then have them grow into mountains over time. Yeah, it took 10,000 years for that mountain. No, that mountain probably got there in about 10 minutes. Some violent, crazy, earth-shaking quakes or volcanoes put that mountain there, catastrophically in a very short time span, and then it takes millions of years to erode. So yeah, the mountain comes up all of a sudden, drastically, violently, and then it goes away slowly over time. Now, the stock market's just the opposite of that. The stock market rises slowly, kind of the opposite of erosion, and then it crashes suddenly and violently because it's a human construct. We're not talking geology anymore. So what goes up in the market that's buoyed by artificial fiat currency and money pumping and artificially low interest rates must come down violently and suddenly, and so it shall. and people that are out there that do not understand anything. That's the vast majority. They have no understanding of history. Hey, 10% of college graduates think Judge Judy is on the U.S. Supreme Court. I'm not even kidding. That was a new poll that came out. Yeah, college graduates in America, 10% think Judge Judy, the TV star Judge Judy, they think she's on the U.S. Supreme Court. All right? This isn't the college dropouts. These are the college graduates. And they have no understanding of history. They have no knowledge of anything. Really anything. Not even the thing that they think they studied. They've just been taught a bunch of cultural babble, gender studies or what have you. Just a bunch of babble in college, except for the hard sciences. I mean, yeah, there are architects and engineers and med school students and people who have some actual knowledge, but a lot of these liberal arts colleges are just producing people who are totally clueless. They have no understanding of history. They don't know anything about how society works. They can't name the 3 branches of government. They don't know what numbers mean. They can't do math. They can't calculate, compounding interest. They don't even understand what compounding interest means. All right? Yeah, I mean, to them, money comes from the government and Judge Judy is on the Supreme Court. That's it. That's all they need to know. Why shouldn't everybody have a free education? Why shouldn't they just hand out money to everybody? I mean, the government just creates more money and gives it to people. What's the harm? That's the way they think. They're totally clueless. And when they have opportunities to do so, they'll wear tank tops and shorts and flip-flops to a party in minus 6-degree weather, and they'll collapse and die. Because, hey, why not? Why should they have to wear a warm shirt? Nothing else has had to make sense in their lives. To get an A grade in their college classroom, they don't have to make any sense. They just spout whatever total economic nonsense is being shoved down their throats by their professor, and they get an A. So why not just wear shorts? Hey, there's snow and ice, and it's a blizzard, but who cares? There's no cause and effect in their minds. So they're just going to die en masse. Sadly, I'm not celebrating this person's death. I'm sad that it happens, but I'm pointing it out so that you don't follow in her footsteps. All right, stay safe, everybody. Read collapse.news for more up-to-date information. Thanks for listening. Mike Adams, Health Ranger, healthrangerreport.com.